Hey guys, so welcome back. Thank you for joining me on another video. This is just going to be a long one, so if you guys want to just kind of have this as background noise and you just don't want to sit down and listen to me talk for a long time, I kind of do that with other videos that are really long. I just kind of play them while I'm getting ready or cleaning my room, just to kind of listen when I don't necessarily have time to sit down and watch the whole video, you know? So I'm not going to be talking about makeup, as you guys can probably tell by the title of this video, but I wanted to just tell you guys a little bit about something really exciting that's been going on with me, and then also something that I wanted to talk about, not in a really deep sense, but it's more, it's a conversation that started happening in one of the threads of a picture that I posted on Instagram a few days ago. So let's start off with the good stuff. Hopefully everything's good. So my husband and I, we have finally, after 5 years of trying to buy a house, everything finally aligned, and we are now in the escrow process of buying a new home, which has been so exciting. And I feel like everything that I've been dreaming about, it's happening right now. And we've wanted to buy a home here in Los Angeles for forever. That's been a dream of ours, to actually own a beautiful home that we can raise our family in. So we've been going through that. It was really exciting going out and looking at different houses with our realtor, George, which, by the way, he's amazing. If you guys need a realtor here in Southern California, or actually you can do it in all over California, but he lives here in Southern California. He's just amazing, such a cool guy, and he's really just helped us out so much. So we're so grateful to George, and he's just an awesome person. So yeah, we've been doing the house hunting. We've been looking at different neighborhoods that have like the top schools, because we definitely want Isaac to have the best education that he can possibly get. So we found a really great school. I think it's rated, it is rated a 9 out of 10. And we found a house right along that neighborhood. So we're so excited. I can't wait to do like an actual house tour, because this is the house that I live in here. We've been renting it for 5 years, and all of this money that we've put into this house for 5 years, it's like, it's not a waste of money, because we've had a nice home to live in, and I'm so grateful that we've lived here for that long and we actually have a nice home to live in. I really do feel like everything just happens when it's supposed to happen. And we actually put an offer to this other beautiful, gorgeous 1930s home in Los Feliz, and we didn't end up getting the house, even though I didn't necessarily feel like it was my house, but I really wanted that house. And when we didn't get the house because another family came offering cash, at first I was like, oh, I was a little bummed out, because I had my hopes up, and Jesse and I were like, what can we do to this house? It's just gorgeous, oh my gosh. And then I realized that that house wasn't meant to be ours. So I didn't really, it didn't really affect me after I had that realization. Like, you know what? If this house was meant to be ours, either, like, no matter if they would have came with cash, that house would have been ours. So obviously it was meant for them, not for us, and we ended up finding this gorgeous house. So I can't wait for you guys to to do the whole house tour in my new glam room and Isaac's room and just the kitchen and everything. I'm so excited about that. So that's been going on. If you guys follow me on Snapchat, then you've seen some of the tours of the houses that I was not going to get. I've showed you the tours. I already knew, like, once I walk up to it, like, from the outside, actually the neighborhood, I could already tell if I'm going to like the house or not. So I wanted to talk about this conversation that started on a picture on my Instagram, and normally I don't talk about things like this. It's actually, it has to do with discrimination and a topic that people have been talking about on my pictures for a long time. And that topic is me not being Latina enough, or Mexican enough, actually. And the first time that I ever experienced this, guys, was when I went to Hispanicize 2015, last year in Miami. It's a convention, and I had the amazing opportunity to attend it. Not only that, I was presented with an award at the show. Like, I had a big luncheon where I don't know, like 300 people. I didn't even know this was going to be this big, guys, but it was during the convention. During lunchtime, they had like 300 people in a room, really nice tables, like a 3-course or something like that, dinner or lunch. And then I was going to be up on stage while people were eating and all of that stuff. I was going to be interviewed by my friend Yarel. And we're just going to be talking about my accomplishments and how I've been inspiring Latinos to dream big and achieve goals. And it was just like this big thing. And after that, I ended up getting an award presented to me in front of all of these people. And I had no idea. And this is like one of the first times that I get in front of on a stage and everybody's like eyes on you. So it was such a big deal. I'm so glad that my manager didn't tell me it was going to be that big of a deal, because I think I would have freaked out and said no at that point. But I walk in and there's this whole thing about me, and I was like, wow, like how incredible that from starting my YouTube videos so long ago, just in my room as a hobby like I'm doing right now, like I'm being awarded and recognized when I really didn't feel like I deserved it, you know? But my manager's always like, you gotta, you know, because Pitar and Layla, they're more than just my managers or family. So they're always like, you have to see how great you are. You have to see how great you are. And I'm like, no, I'm really not, because I just feel like I'm doing what I love and I'm just being me, you know? But anyways, so after that, I had another opportunity. Despierta America actually wanted me to go on their show to talk a little bit about beauty. And I always had, like, I never did Spanish videos on my channel. So I was a little reserved because I felt like people were gonna say something about the way that I speak Spanish. So I said no, because I feel like I didn't speak Spanish well enough that my people were going to start criticizing me, and I didn't want that kind of negative energy. But then I had a conversation with myself and I'm like, you know what? This is an amazing opportunity. The producers actually want you on the show. Why are you going to say no just because of what people might say? This is, you know, people hadn't said anything at that point, but people might say that. That was in my mind. So then I go back to them and I'm like, you know, I'm not really that comfortable speaking Spanish on TV. I know it's a purely Spanish speaking channel, and they came back and they're like, yo, we really want her to do it. It's okay if she doesn't speak Spanish well enough. We can translate it. She could just whatever she's comfortable with, but we really, really want her on the show. So I ended up saying yes. And the next morning I'm ready. I have my friends climbing me up and stuff, and I'm super excited. I'm like a little nervous because it was, you know, live television. But at the same sense, I didn't feel that nervous when it went live. And even though I wasn't nervous, at the same time, I was, the whole time during the interview was going, I was thinking about you guys and what you guys were going to think about my Spanish, because my Spanish is broken. I don't speak proper Spanish. I can communicate in Spanish, but I don't speak proper Spanish. But the whole time, believe it or not, I was thinking about what you guys were going to be thinking of me. As soon as, and I totally forgot like the simplest words, as like, they asked me to describe how J-Lo gets her look. I couldn't even think of the simplest words like eyebrows, which I know is a ceja, or the simple words like lip gloss is, you know, labial or brillo labial or something like that. I couldn't think of those words because I was just so caught up thinking about you guys judging me when it hadn't even happened yet. Nonetheless, I forgot the words and I started the interview in Spanish, and then I totally freaked out. And I continued the interview in English, and I already know, I'm like, damn, like people are gonna get pissed off because I'm not speaking Spanish on a Spanish speaking platform. They're gonna think that I'm not proud to be Mexican or whatnot. And I get off social media and I have all of these comments like completely bashing me. Like, I've never felt this kind of negative attention towards me and that level from people that are from my same community, Latinos, Mexicans, and women specifically. I didn't see any men bashing me, but 99% of it were Latino women or Latina women. So yeah, I was so hurt. It really did Like, I went to my room, I was crying. The whole time I was asking my manager and my husband and everybody else around me. They thought I did a great job. My mom called me, she was crying because she's like, oh my gosh, you did so great. I'm like, you look beautiful. And the way that they received you, they loved you, and things of that nature. The producers really loved me too. And everybody around me, like the people that actually loved me, they were giving me so much praise for the interview. And I go on social media and I'm focusing on all of the negative attention that you guys were giving me about not being proud to be Mexican, which is so far beyond the truth. And it hurt me. Like, the whole time for like the next 3 days, I was just checking the comments and seeing what you guys were saying about me. And some of the stuff was just really plain out hurtful. And I remember this one person said something to the degree of like, se te nota el nopal en la frente, and something like that. And I did respond and I said that, you know what, like, I don't like that an educated person would not say a comment like that towards another person. And she came back and she said that, you know, well, if someone said that to me, I would love it, because that just means that you can tell that I'm Mexican. And to me, saying that I have a nopal en la frente, that's not a compliment. You know, like, what does that mean? Like, all Mexicans like nopales? Like, that's such a stereotype, and I don't take that as a compliment. I would never say that to someone else. And I was talking to my mom about this kind of conversation that rose from this, because I've never felt discriminated by my own people before, and I never thought that, like, I'm here in Miami doing something or being acknowledged for something so positive. The whole interview in Despierta America was so positive, but yet people hated me. And I guess people still do. And the difference is that at that point, I cared so much about what you guys were saying about me, the positive and the negative. I cared so much. I took it to heart. It really mattered to me. I felt like everything that you had to say about me, it was true. And I really took it really personal, and I cried. I got really upset. I was thinking about it the whole time. And I just want to point out how I can't understand. I never understood. And if you guys can explain this to me, I never understood. And I really want to understand. And I'm praying to God all the time. I'm like, I really want to understand why it is that you feel that I am not worthy enough to represent my community because of my level of Spanish. And I feel like that's something that definitely needs to change, because we have to go outside of the stereotypes. But anyways, that was then in Miami, right? So what happens is that now, you know, it's probably, it's been like a year, and I feel like I've grown so much as a human. I've matured so much. I have a different level of thinking, and I know I still have so much more growing to do. I know that, but I feel like I've seen drastic changes in the way that I deal with situations and how I see things, how I see life. It's always evolving. The We All Grow Summit is actually this weekend, and today's the last day, but it was over the weekend in Long Beach, and my friends at Neutrogena at CCOM, they actually invited me to this field trip because the summit was having different field trips to like Disneyland and everything like that. And this community is for Latinas. So they invited me on a trip to Catalina Island to just have fun and just network and just have a good time with my fellow community of bloggers and YouTubers. So I decided to go, even though I was kind of hesitant at first because you know, I really like to stay within my shell and not really go out and network and not do things like that. I like to do things by myself, but that's something that's also changing within me, is that I've been more outgoing and just networking and meeting new people. And how I see life now is so different, that all the people that I attract to my life are actually really cool, awesome, supporting women and men. So all the ladies, I love all the ladies, like every single one of the ladies that I met during the trip to Catalina Island. I love them so much. It was nothing but love, no competitiveness, no nothing like that. It was all about helping each other out. And I love that so much. I seriously feel like I'm so happy that I had a chance to go to that field trip, because I got a chance to meet cool new women and make new friends. And some of them I posted, the ones that I took pictures with, If you guys want to follow them, go to my Instagram page because I tagged them there, and they're just so cool, and you guys are going to feel so inspired. But anyways, so we took this big jumping shot. Like, all of these Latinas, we gathered together, and we just, like, you know, we did one of those jumping shots, and everybody's in the air. And I love that picture because we were just having so much fun, and I posted it on my Instagram. And what ended up happening was, this is what I said: what a fun day with all of my Latinas. Hashtag verás que es posible, because that was the hashtag. Sorry about that if it cut off and it was abrupt. But anyways, like I was saying, this is a conversation that I feel like needs to be had, because I do feel like a lot of us are being put into a little box, and we have to fit a specific mold, and basically that defines how Latina you are. What I want people to understand now is that for me personally, growing up and getting older, and I feel becoming more mature, I don't let these comments affect me to the degree where I go back and I question who I am and I let you define who I am. I put these videos on YouTube, but at the end of the day, I don't give out my whole life. You guys don't know how I feel when I turn this camera off. You don't know the thoughts that go through my head. You don't know my emotions. You don't know if I'm happy, if I'm sad, if I'm depressed, if I'm excited. All of these things, you guys have no idea. So you're trying to put me into a mold that you don't even know. You're not even familiar with who I am. And that's being judgmental. You're judging me for what your perception of what a Latina should be, or your views in life. And I feel like that has a lot more to say about who you are for going out there and judging someone. Just you having those kind of thoughts say a lot about the insecurities that you feel inside. And honestly, the best thing that you can do is keep that to yourself. Do some inner work. Find out why it is that you feel threatened, or why it is that you feel insecure because I don't speak proper Spanish. Why is that affecting you? I am only representing myself. That's all I can do. I can only represent who I am. I do understand that I have this platform that reaches a lot of people, that can influence people or not. But at the end of the day, I know that what I say is what I feel from my heart, and I can only do stuff to represent who I am. I am not sitting here standing saying I am representing every Latino. No, because I love people in general. I'm not going to just sit here and root for a specific, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's also separating people if I'm sitting here and just saying only Latinas, only Mexicans, that's all it's about. We have to see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that this world is being separated by skin color, by the way we look, by the way we talk, our backgrounds, our parents, our education level. We're just separating each other. So you saying that I don't speak proper Spanish, so I'm not worthy to represent Latinos because of my level of Spanish, then you are separating everybody else that is just like me. There's lots of Mexican Americans who don't speak proper Spanish. That doesn't mean that I am any less proud to be Mexican. Why would I be ashamed of being Mexican if my grandparents, who I love with all of if my family is Mexican? Why would I be ashamed of the people that I love the most? That is who they are. That is who I am. Being ashamed of being Mexican is not loving myself, and I love myself. And I discovered that, okay, maybe in my late 20s, but I love myself. I love me. I think I'm beautiful. I think I'm talented. I think all of these amazing things. And if you feel any offense to me feeling that sentiment about myself, then that's your own personal issue. I don't want anything to do with that. Because the last thing I'm going to do is let you define who I am. Because guess what? I know exactly who I am, and my family knows exactly who I am. So let me just give you one of the comments here from this girl. She said, Latinas, but you complain about the Mexican music your husband plays. You a Latina wannabe. I don't even understand how I'm a wannabe Latina if I have Mexican blood running through my veins. That is exactly what runs through my veins, is Mexican blood. That is who I am. How am I a wannabe? So now let me tell you what started this whole conversation. A day prior to this, my husband was listening to either corridos or rancheras, which I like some ranchera song, or is that how you say it? I'm not sure. But I like some songs by like Vicente Fernandez. I like Spanish music. The thing is that I do not like corridos at all. So my husband was listening to it and he hadn't in a long time, and I was just kind of like not in the mood that day. And I just snapped, my husband's music gives me a headache. And then I panned over to him and he was just laughing, which is true. And I did not think that people were going to start a big discussion with that one Snapchat. I just think that this conversation needs to be had, and it needs to be had more often, because it goes a lot deeper than this comment, this thread of discussion here in my picture. It's a lot deeper than that, because people are discriminating. They are finding ways to separate each other. I don't see why, instead of focusing that energy on helping each other out, on empowering one another, paying compliments to one another, supporting one another, why do we have to tear each other down? There's already people out there doing that for us. There's already, people like Donald Trump that are already trying to tear us down. So why are we doing that to each other? I think that's the bigger picture here, is that we need to come together and support each other. The music that I listen to, that's not important. That's irrelevant. Okay, I don't like ranchera music. Big deal. As people of the same community, as my fellow Mexicans, my fellow Latinas, I feel like we should be supporting one another, because that's what I try to do. I try to build a positive platform for all of us to have a great positive discussion, whether it's about makeup or hair or whatever, or something that's, a lot more important in my personal opinion. So let's do that. Let's try to build each other. And if you don't have anything nice to say, then just keep it to yourself. But don't release that kind of energy out there, especially within our own community of people. There's, like I said, there's already people that are trying to attack us and break us down and send us back to where we came from. We need to stand together and do things to help each other out. If I had low self-esteem, those comments would affect me tremendously. And I would base who I was or who I am based off the things that you say. So the things that you are saying to me, I'm not the only one reading them. There's other people, there's younger people who are reading them, people who are maybe biracial and going through the same kind of thing, not being told that they're not black enough or white enough or Mexican enough, Filipino, whatever the case might be. There's people that are reading these that don't feel secure in who they are yet, and what you are saying is making things worse. If I was, for example, if I was biracial, I can't change the fact that I am Mexican and white, for example. You can't change that fact. That is who you are. So if someone is still unsure, and there's people like you saying these kind of things, trying to classify them, trying to put them into a mold, trying to tell them who they are, it can really hurt somebody. So you really need to pick your words wisely. And there's already so much hate in this world. I actually commented about this a while ago when I said that there's already so much evil in this world, and this world is an ugly place. But in reality, I actually changed my opinion. There's, yes, bad things that happen in this world, and I do feel like the news or just any kind of publication in that sense, they do publicize the negative and the bad all the time. So when you turn on the news, all you hear is the negative stuff. 5% of it is good stuff, charity work that people do, but nobody gets excited about that. When I did my charity work at the in Chicago for the Boys and Girls Club and all the other places during my book tour, nobody showed up. Like, a few people showed up. But when I do other things that are fashion and beauty, I have a lot of people show up. So that gives me a sense of, what are people really interested in? Do people really want to see a change in this world, but they don't have the time? It doesn't really benefit them, or what? Because here I am, and this is another reason why I decided to not buy this huge ass house, is because I don't want to be living this super grand life. I do believe that we deserve what we want. Okay, it's not like we don't have to limit ourselves to, don't get a nice car because there's people in the other parts of the world that don't have cars. No, I don't feel like that, but I do feel like being excessive is a little bit, it's too much. There's no need to be excessive when there is people that are a lot less fortunate than us. And if we're giving a platform, if we're giving a position to, like for me personally, I feel like God has blessed me with everything he has, so I can make a difference somehow. I'm not saying here I am, little Dulce is going to change the world. No, but I know that I can make a difference, because if there's people in this world that make a difference in this world in a grand way, what makes you think that we can't? We are just as important, and we're all leveled. Just that we have to take initiative. You know what I mean? So that's just, I'm just speaking from my heart right now. I don't even know where this conversation is going, but I just say so many things that are happening, and we're so quick to just turn our head towards that and not really pay attention to it. But we can make little changes, and it doesn't have to be grand things. You don't have to start doing big and major things, but just by not releasing negative words that you don't have to release because of whatever issues that you might be having, or insecurities, because that's honestly where the bullying comes from. It comes from insecurities and things that you're dealing with, and it's not healthy for you, and it's not healthy for the person that you're bullying. And yeah, I never really thought that I would have a conversation about this, because I didn't want to come on here and be like, I'm going to prove to you who I am. That's not what it's about. I think you guys should do this as well. Sit down one day. I was actually doing this on the car ride to the airport just last week. And I was thinking, who am I? Who have I always been, and who was that little girl that I was? And you know what's really interesting and beautiful too is that I always have been a dreamer. Since I was a little girl, I've always dreamed. I've always used my imagination. And I didn't even click those things until I started to reflect on how I was and the kind of thoughts that I would have as a little girl. And I've always dreamed. I've always dreamed big. And you know what else trips me out? I remember that people would ask me, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I always had this vision of, like, this successful businesswoman running, you know, being the CEO of a huge company and just being boss. Like, I've always wanted to be like a boss, you know what I mean? Like, just successful, powerful, like a boss woman. And I think it drives from me being 4'9" and being so petite, but nonetheless, my height has nothing to do with it. And by the way, I love how little I am. People always think that I have a problem with it. Why? I love being little. And I think that's why I'm also like, and I'm a Leo as well. So I'm like, you know, I have this sort of way about me that I'm discovering and I'm actually embracing, because I used to be like, don't say you're beautiful. Don't say you think you look pretty. Don't say you're successful, because people are going to think less of you. No, say what you feel about yourself. And you have to be the one giving yourself the best praise. If you guys think I'm conceited, sorry. Then you think I'm conceited, bye-bye. That's all I have to say. Because I am not going to downgrade myself anymore. I am not going to be like, no. Because when people would pay me compliments, I'd be like, no, I'm really not that great. I'm not amazing. I'm not like, I always had that sense about me. But own up to what you feel about yourself. And if somebody pays you a compliment, say thank you. Okay, say thank you. Really appreciate that, and take the compliment, but also don't let that define how you feel about yourself. Always know who you are. Look in the mirror and find out who that person is. Discover who it is that you're looking. Discover the purpose of your soul, of you being in this world, the purpose that God gave you in this world. Try to fulfill it and just do you. Be happy. Life is too short to be worried about what people think about you and to be wasting every single precious moment, because people, we're only here for a short amount of time. Why are you going to waste it being negative or being sad or being upset? Yes, those are all feelings that we're all going to feel, and it's okay to embrace them, because they're natural. You can't hide from feeling those things, but also try to be happy. Try to pay someone a compliment. Try to be supportive. Try to smile. Just put a smile on your face if you're not feeling good. But anyways, that's my message for today. My doggies are barking because I think Isaac and Jesse just got here. I'm going to edit this thing for you and put it up today on a Saturday, going up. Yep. And thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say down in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.